It is time for yet another grand tour! Yes, Need for Speed Rivals is my favorite video game, because there is no greater fun than getting in a supercar and using electronic warfare to ruin everybody else's day. But you may be asking yourself, didn't this game shut down like a week ago? The answer is yes, but also no. I wasn't sure how to approach this video. It honestly incensed me greatly to see that every media outlet and every million subscriber YouTuber got this wrong. Every single one. All of them. I'm gonna put it on screen that yes, this video was recorded on October 16th at 5 a.m., just a few hours before the Motorfest showcase, and we'll certainly get to that, because all of this is essentially to prove a point. Let's go back to when this game began. Need for Speed Rivals was co-developed by Criterion and Ghost, released on both older and newer gen consoles in November of 2013. When it came out, it was a technical disaster. I'm not kidding. I have shown many of the glitches and performance issues seen on both the Xbox One copy and PC copy that I happen to own. But most damning is an actually game-breaking glitch, where if the game cannot find a server to stick you in, it can simply crash and take you back to the home screen or desktop. This was a known issue for 12 years, entire forums about this, and it was because of this issue that I, and I guess many others, were led to believe that if the servers shut down, the game would enter this crash loop and be unplayable. However, every gamer seemed to forget there was a workaround. If you get into the game and change your server default to single player only, it will always default to single player on the next boot up. And that's how I filmed this game. So imagine my surprise when I booted into Rivals on the morning of the 16th, saw the "thanks for playing, the servers are closed" message, and then it logged me into the single-player server anyway. As was the case with Most Wanted 2012, Rivals will always be playable offline. Always. Every single critic of this game was full of shit from the very start. Every single one. So yeah, I fucking called it. Now, this is a hell of a coincidence, but only 3 hours later, Ubisoft would push the update for The Crew 2, which activated the hybrid mode. And while I was waiting for the Motorfest showcase to start, I tested it out. Logging into The Crew 2 required making a cached copy of my online save, and gave the stipulation that you still need to go online to update the cached copy anytime you make significant changes within your save file. So if you want to port cars to Motorfest, obviously you're gonna have to go online. Anyone with half a brain would realize this makes logical sense. An always online game has to make a cached copy of the save file to be playable offline. And it is the reason why The Crew 1 couldn't do that. I will gladly die on this hill, but I want to make something abundantly clear. I will never accuse Ubisoft Ivory Tower of malfeasance for what happened to The Crew 1. And Need for Speed Rivals is, honest to the gods, proof of The Crew 1's innocence, so to speak. Let's talk about it. Like I said in the intro, the single-player mode of Rivals was baked into the game at launch. It never needed to be patched in, EA just didn't tell anybody about it. The back of the box simply said that an internet connection was required to play online. You have to be online to register your account and sync with the Easy Drive system, but you can then manually go offline at your discretion. And this is because your save is write cached when you go offline. During the beta of The Crew 1, Ivory Tower had planned to do this. We have proof of that from the 360 version of the game. Everyone knows about it. That said, IVT were never able to put it in the final release. They simply never had time, nor did they ever get around to putting it in a patch. That was simply a mistake on their part, It was not genuine malfeasance. Ivory Tower could not predict that their first game as a developer studio would become the hit that it became. Nor could they predict that some people would still be playing it after 9 years. So of course, they never planned for it. But just because they never planned for it does not mean that their IP gets to be stolen out from under them. And yes, I'm talking about the Crew Unlimited. Whammy 4 finished development of his server emulation shortly before Ivory Tower pushed their offline patch of the Crew 2. It took practically the same amount of time and confirms that this was all a complex technical issue from the beginning. And the Crew 1 emulation is still not perfect on Whammy's part. There are still glitches that need to be fixed for it to run properly. And the kicker is, if you go on his website, at the bottom of the page is a huge disclaimer trying to absolve himself of the fact that the Crew Unlimited is assisting with, supporting, and condoning piracy. Now, TCU cannot distribute official game files. Whammy says as such on the website. But bear in mind that when the Crew 1 was delisted, it was pulled from people's Steam libraries. Meaning, if you do not already have it installed on your computer, you cannot reinstall it legally. Piracy becomes the only option. That is the problem. That has always been the problem with fan projects since the dawn of time. The creators of fan projects release an unofficial modification to software that they do not own the rights to, knowing it is not available for purchase officially, under the pretext that gamers will steal it. Because look at what Manic Miners was. A verbatim recreation of the 1999 video game LEGO Rock Raiders, using assets from that game and released as a standalone client because you cannot run the CD-ROM on Windows 10 or 11, providing essentially a one-to-one recreation of the game for free to players. I covered this at the end of my playthrough, and I said that I would never freeboot a game like that again. So obviously I have no desire to play the Crew Unlimited either. You know, here's what gets me. Baraklava could have made a space exploration game called Manic Miners, where you explore subterranean caverns and battle against monsters, but made the executive decision to not copy the LEGO IP. And if they had done this, they could have put the game on Steam and made thousands of dollars. There is a demand for that kind of game. And Whammy 4, he could have made an open world racing game taking place in the US, or maybe Canada, or Mexico, put in fictional cars similar to Burnout or GTA, and sold it on Steam. Even if it is unfinished and in early access, he would be rolling in money right now if he made the next spiritual successor to the Crew 1. As much as I rag on Star Trekker for being derivative of No Man's Sky, I can at least respect that that game was made by two people, and they elected to try their hand at game design instead of simply trying to alter Sean Murray's pet project, which, well, Sean Murray is now allergic to money, so I don't even know if he would mind. But the point is, he would fucking give permission if that were the case. Baraklava did not ask permission. Whammy 4 did not ask permission. And then there's Rivals Plus. With the main server shut down, Rivals Plus will likely continue to run without issue. For people with legal copies, this is no problem. But it doesn't stop other people from thinking that they have to pirate the game because the official servers are done. Hell, people won't realize that you can still go on the Xbox store and buy the complete edition there. I went as far as to wipe my Xbox save just for this to show that you can open the game, go through the tutorial, and the game will immediately put you in single player upon tutorial completion. yet people will still pirate this game. I can't fathom that. It is indefensible. Like, the counter argument I always go with is if I want to go to Las Vegas, that is a cost of hundreds of dollars in airfare, hotel, food, rental car, you get the idea, for a trip that is a couple of days long. But Rivals was about a $20 game that I have gotten 5 years of enjoyment out of at a cost of about $4 per year. And the Crew 1, for that matter, cost me $4 a year. I believe the devs deserve compensation when they make these games. I believe that compensation is deserved regardless of how long the experience is. When the Crew 1 shut down, I accepted that I got my money's worth, and I was prepared to do the same with Rivals. I consider it a blessing that single player still works, but it was not a hard requirement. And to really bring this home, everyone in the cultural zeitgeist who spread the fucking misinformation about this game not being playable after October 7th is culpable. They straight up lied to you. I think I'm done with my little soapbox here. I hate retreading the same ground so many times, especially knowing that I am very much in the minority when it comes to supporting devs. Today in particular, October 16th, was supposed to be about the Motorfest showcase, and I do plan to hopefully cover that soon. But if you listened, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next videos. Yeah, I don't think I'm winning this one. Great.